Starscream. There was a time when Starscream was an honorable soldier who fought for the defense of Cybertron. But long isolation aboard an orbital platform made him greedy and ambitious. Given the opportunity to once again lead troops, he gladly joined Megatron.
Welcome back, eBEFOREi video reviews, reviewing Transformers Generations, Fall of Cybertron, Starscream. Here's a quick look at the package. Great artwork right here. Fantastic. And a CGI model. Toy looks nothing like that, but that looks awesome. On the back of the packaging, you have his technical specs. He's not very brave. But this is Starscream, and he has a 10 for a skill, which is impressive. So very nice. He comes with spinning assault cannons and Cybertronian jet fighter mode. We don't need the box anymore. Let's get into the figure. Alright, so here's Starscream out of the box, and what an amazing looking figure. I mean, just right off the bat, I don't have any issues with this guy in robot mode, other than his size. He's a tiny little guy, but we've come to expect that from Hasbro as of late. Other than his size, the Fall of Cybertron Starscream is really a fantastic representation of the character from the video game, and really pays a lot of tributes to the Starscream that we all know and love. Taking a look at Starscream's details up close, I mean, the guy looks fantastic. I mean, there's just no other way around it. He looks great. He has a very similar head design to Generation 1 Starscream. Light piping on him is really, really good, as you can see there. Now, he comes with these weapons, and I like to peg him into his wings. Of course, that's not really the official way to do it. We'll cover these weapons here in just a moment. More detail on the figure. Again, he's got that classic Starscream look, the classic wings in the back, the classic red and blue and kind of gray plastic. The guy looks great. The only flaw I really can find with this figure, besides his size, is the fact that he's hollow in the middle. You can stick things in there and store them there. That would be cool. But he's got a lot of articulation, which is fantastic. In fact, let's get into articulation now. His head is on a swivel joint. And this whole little platform can move up and down. Not that you want to do that, but you could if you want to. His arm has a two-way hinge. He also bends just under the shoulder and bends at the elbow, and he does have some wrist articulation. There's no articulation in the waist whatsoever. His legs are on a dual hinge. His knees bend, and he has no movement in the feet outside of his little pointy toe here in the front for stability. But the figure looks great. He's got very nice paint. So he's got the red paint right here up on front, the different color red right here inside of his little jet area, or his little front thruster vent thingies. But that's kind of a light pinky red. He's got the classic jet cockpit right there on his chest. And even weapons aside, he's got these bits on his arms that almost kind of sort of look like he could make that a null ray, sort of. You know, he's just kind of got that look about him. So even without weapons on this guy, I think that he's got the potential to be posed up really cool. On the back of Starscream, he's got a little bit of a jetpack, and, you know, these are the kind of back wing areas. There is some quality control on this figure, some quality control issues. Getting the camera right in there, you can see where the blue just didn't quite make it up to the top of that fin, whereas it sort of did on the other side. So they're not quite equal there, but not the end of the world. He's got these kind of fluorescent pink colors right here and kind of a pinkish Decepticon symbol on the back of the wings. Alright, now I guess it's time to talk about the weapons. These weapons are pretty cool. I really like these guys a lot. By themselves, they can post in two different positions, on the bottom right here, and on the longer post right here. Now, the downside is that it's unfinished on the inside, but there's a reason for that. We'll talk about that here in just a moment. These things do swivel around, so that's pretty cool. Now, as you can see, there are two of them, and the reason that there are two is that these things actually combine together. Okay, when you stick them together just like that, then the unfinished bits are all on the inside, and the gears on these spinning cannons actually cause the other one to spin. How cool is that? So yeah, that's pretty neat. I like that quite a bit. So, you could take this weapon on Starscream and you could post it in his hand like this, It can have this big, huge mega cannon on his arm, which is pretty neat. You also can rotate his fists down. Man, there's so much good articulation on this figure. I mean, really. You can really pose this guy up nicely. But if you spin his wrist like that, then you could put one of these on one side and one peg in the other. You kind of see where I'm going with this, don't you? I think my son just whispered, yes. He smells what the Rock's cooking. So yeah, you can give him like this crazy pose like he's gonna just gun down tons of Autobots. Kind of violent, actually. Now you can also post his weapons in his hands just like this, or in his arms, to give him more of a classic kind of null ray look. And there are two different places you can post this. There's a smaller peg and then a larger peg, and you could play around with this and do either or. The problem is I don't think it looks good like this. I mean, you know, it looks okay, but you know, again, you've got an unfinished side, and you can swap those around depending on whatever angle you want to use if you're displaying him. But I kind of prefer them, I think, on the wings, and using those in plastic bits as his actual null rays. But you can do what you like. Now, size comparison, Shockwave, and they're about the same size. Starscream's head is a little taller, and Shockwave's ears tip him up a bit higher. So, you know, they just are what they are. Now, if you have Shockwave, you know how small Starscream is, because Shockwave is really tiny. There he is next to Transformers Prime Sergeant Cup, and he's actually a little bit taller. So, you know, I guess all in all, as long as you have figures in the same scale, he'll look great on the shelf. The problem is, since he's a Fall of Cybertron figure, you put him next to, like, the brand new Soundwave, you can see the vast difference in size here. So, yeah, you know, you do what you like. I suppose it could work. So anyway, that's the weapons, and those are the different things that you can do. Now, as you saw when I started the video, kind of unofficially, I posted those things on the back of his wings, and I love the way that looks in robot mode. So that's cool. I like that quite a bit. To get Starscream transformed, the first thing we want to do is take these weapons, split them apart, and put them off to the side for now. Then we want to come onto the figure and pull these bits up just like that, and separate this whole back section. And you want to get these parts straight right here. So the best way to get those straight is just to kind of put your finger under here, and you'll probably pinch yourself a little bit, and just get those so that they're straight across just like that. All right, from here you want to go ahead and lift these bits up, lift up the head. Actually, let's turn the head so that we're not staring at him when he's in jet mode. And just sort of push this up and push the head down into itself. So it should look pretty much just like that. Okay, then what you want to do is come down to the leg section and take this whole little hip area and start to bend that up like that. Underneath here you'll find the tip of the cockpit, or the tip of the nose, and just kind of move that forward like that. Want to come around to the back, and you're going to collapse in these arms just like that. And what you want to do is you want to make the arm section so that you can pivot them completely forward like this. And this is very reminiscent, get these feet out of the camera, this is very reminiscent of the way that Starscream transformed with the Dark of the Moon Deluxe, to where the hands and the arms kind of fold up. But you'll see that the way that these arms are slotted, you can actually fit these things together just like that. And then you want to bend these guys all the way over and hide the hands like that. And there is a peg right there and a slot right there. And you just want to get these things together, just like that. And put the fists down just so you can hide them as good as you can. Push them up in there, and you'll have a real nice tight fit. Shooting this video in the daytime, and my new lights are fighting against the light coming in out of the window right here. So that's why the lights look a little bit funny. Okay, we're almost done with transformation. From here you just want to take the legs, and you want to bend them back just like that, this whole little hip section. And spin these guys around like that. You want the toes pointing down, collapse those inside, rinse and repeat on the other side. And there's a peg and a hole, and you know what to do from there. Come on, how long have you been around Transformers? Peg these guys up. Straighten out the wings. And really, the final thing that you need to do is just take these weapons and slot them underneath, so that the unfinished bits are in the inside. Do the same thing on the other side. unfinished bits on the inside. Just like that. And what you have is a completed Starscream in his Cybertronian jet mode. Cybertronian Starscream really looks fantastic. I mean, all the way around, this is a great representation of an early design or a Cybertronian design of Starscream. So he's got the classic colors, as we've already mentioned, and he compacts down to this just great-looking jet. I mean, really good. I think this figure came across fantastic, especially in this mode. Details, he does have the cockpit there. He's got a little seat in there, which looks pretty cool. The head, yeah, head's showing. Not really much you can do about that. But as long as you've got the head pointed down, then that should be okay. The hollow bits are filled in when you move that waist, and yeah, there's still a little bit of hollow, I guess, if you look underneath here, but other than that, it looks good. I love the exposed kind of spine plate here, which are where his hips are, and that's fantastic looking. The feet look like rockets. The weapons underneath look great. You've got some light piping, I'll call it light piping, but this is all translucent plastic up in here, so light really fills up this cockpit area quite nice. Overall, I think this jet mode looks great. Size comparison, you can see that in his jet mode, Beast Hunter Soundwave, he's got quite the stretch, but Starscream's kind of squat and stocky. He's a lot thicker than Soundwave. But he's actually a decent-sized vehicle for a deluxe-size figure. So anyway, that's my review of the Fall of Cybertron Deluxe Class Starscream. Great figure, fantastic vehicle mode, great robot mode. My only complaint is the hollowness in here, and I wish he was a little bit taller. But other than that, fantastic figure, a must pick up if you see this guy in your store. If you like this review, and why wouldn't you? Don't you answer that. But if you like the review and you want to support the channel, just click subscribe somewhere on this YouTube page. If you're seeing this somewhere other than YouTube, you can visit my YouTube page at youtube.com/eBEFOREiNet. You can also chat with me on Facebook at facebook.com/eBEFOREi and on Twitter at E_before_I. Thanks again for watching. We'll be back again real soon. We'll see you then.